Hi, welcome to day 81 of my Munro challenge. So today I'm walking route number 102, which is Creag Mhor, the big crag, and Beinn Heasgarnich, which is the peaceful mountain. We're parked in the car park on the roadside, and we're about to hit a private road that you're not allowed to drive on before we hit the main track. Yes, it's been raining pretty much on and off now for 3 days. Lots of water about. We're following this lane, private road. I'm going to hang a right in a minute and follow it up before we turn onto the tracks. Yes, you soon make your height quite quickly on this tarmac road. See the valley bottom we've come up from. We've got a few switchbacks and then we're heading left up a track. So this is where I fork left. There's a small dam there. We're going to follow that track now. On the underside of the hill it contours around for quite some time. This road here will be coming down on later today. And according to the guidebook, you'll be glad of it when you get on it, because it's that boggy on the hilltops. So we'll see. I think that might be milled glass over there. I think so. I did that a few weeks ago now. Well, I seem to have been on this track for ages. Just looking up over there, that's Ben Callum up in the clouds. There's a couple of weeks ago I was there. I'm just looking back down the glen. We've been on this road for over an hour and a half now. Well, since leaving the car. It seems to have gone on a long time. So I do believe that the track's forking left down past at Wood, and shortly after that I'm going to be heading right and heading up the hillside. Yeah, so this is what we've been looking for, this bridge. So I needed to cross this this river before we hang a right. So we're pathless. We're heading up here. Now, just a quick look at the guidebook. It suggested we've got to head northwest, which is that side, and find a gully. An easy gully, it says, to get over. So there you go. We're going to head northwest and see where we come out. So as we're heading up to the northwest corner, I picked up this like a sheep trot. So heading in the correct direction. So as a bonus, I found a gap in the deer fence where it's all collapsed near this burn. So I've got through this deer fence, and I'm heading up here, and I can't see a grass gully, as it were, so I'm assuming possibly make my way up there. Well, if this is the grass gully it was referring to, then we've found it. Wow, looks very craggy, rocky, windy. Look at that, Munro number 2 just coming into view. Been in cloud for ages. Just looking across at the Beelac that we're going to have to cross. It does say it's boggy. Wow, it looks very, very boggy. That's Munro number 2. That looks a challenge as well. Anyway, we've still got this one to crack, haven't we, Stan? Long way to go yet. So it's just started snowing. Hailstone, snow. Top's way up there in the clouds still. Long way to go. Wow, here we are. Creag Mhor. Wow, that took some climbing. So I've cut down the side of the crags there, but it's so steep and slippy. I found it easier to cut across the snow here. I'm trying to work my way around to the Beelac down there before we start the next ascent. So almost in the Beelac. Gosh, that was grassy and boggy and slippy and rocky. You can't quite see now, I'm just in a dip. I'm going to try and work my way across that bog and then weave my way up this first buttress. Just looking back up, that's how steep it was coming down. Very steep. I think I made a mistake there. I think in hindsight I should have carried on that grassy bank and come round this way. It'd have been far easier. Anyway, it's me being silly, but we all make mistakes. So now we're gonna weave our way up there. Once we get up there, it's that's the most of the work done. Then it's a grassy bank apparently to the top. Wow, we're looking back at Creag Mhor. We're dwarfed by it. It's huge. So I cut down that large lump of snow, if you remember, and I just cut off a little bit too early. If it had carried on down, I could have cut down that grass bank. It had made my life far easier. Well, I'm about halfway, maybe 3/4 of the way up this ridiculously steep grass bank. Oh, it was vertical, and I've come across a path meandering up. So it's going to make hopefully the top section a lot easier. First view of the top. Awesome. Well, hey, that was steep. That was steep. Look at the beeline right down there. Long way down. So, what do you think, Stan? Hey? Hard work's been done now. So, there we are at the top. Heasgarnich! Beinn Heasgarnich! Wow! I had to get off the top straight away. It was just absolutely vile up there. The story of the day, very windy, very wet day. In and out of cloud, rain, snow, hail. So looking at the map, we've got to just skirt that locken a little bit beyond it, and then we're going to veer right. So that locken's good in this visibility. It's good to find a landmark and know that you're on the right track. Wow. So the plan is to cut down there through that swamp, skirt the underside of that hill, and eventually we'll pick up the tarmac road we were on earlier, the private road. In fact, you can just about make it out in the glen bottom, right in the distance, long way away. This is going to be squelchy and boggy. At some point I'm going to have to cross this beck, so this burn. So I've made a beeline for it quite early on to get it whilst it's passable, because I think lower down it's rained that much it might be impossible to cross. So various tributaries you can see are all bursting, so I'm going to follow this line of this river now, keep to the right hand side of it. Just looking back up, wow, what a rainy day it's been. Very squelchy, boggy. I'm making a beeline across now for the road. So there's the road, there's a deer fence, and that just over there looks to be a gate of some description. So I'm making my way to that gate, and we'll head down to the road and follow it back to the car. I think it might be a long walk. Actually, there was no need. Just follow the deer fence round. You come to naturally come round to the road. Road's up there. Let's say it's going to be a long walk back. So here we are back at the lane where we veered off this morning. That was a long track as well. Been a long day today. Hi, welcome to day 81 of my Munros challenge. Today I walked route number 102. It's Thursday the 12th of May, and I parked at the end of the road at Kingcock in a car park, which then becomes a private road, so you're not allowed past that point. Very, very, very rainy day. Hail, wind, snow. On the tops particularly, it was absolutely freezing, windy, rainy. Really, really difficult conditions today. So the first Munro, Creag Mhor. Wow. I say you start on a private road, eventually you turn off onto a track, and you just seem to be on this track for ages. Eventually you get to the second bridge, and you turn right up a pathless, very steep climb. Now, when the guidebook I read suggested that the easiest way up the buttress is actually on the northwest, and there's a grassy I think it's chute, I think it was described as, or gully. Anyway, I headed to the northwest and eventually picked up a grassy gully, but I have to say I came across a deer fence, and now luckily where I got to the deer fence, it collapsed, if you like, near the burn, so I was able to easily get across because it was down. But if it hadn't have been, I'm not sure what I'd have done. I might have to retrace my steps or something. I just no idea. Anyway, I went up the grassy bank, very, very steep, and climbed quite some time until I got to the ridge, the shoulder, at which point I then followed it to the top of Creag Mhor. Very, very rainy, very windy, in cloud, not a lot to see. And indeed, when I got to the top, I didn't really hang around. Huge cairn, nothing to see because we're in cloud. So I decided to pretty much make the descent and to the back to the Beilach. And oh my God, I think I made a big mistake there. Now, I knew I had to avoid the cliffs and the crags. So at which point, when I got past the cliffs and the crags, I hung a right and dropped down a very, very, very steep gully, if you like, chute, and it was grassy, but with the rain, and it was just lethal. It was slippy. It took me an age to get down, extremely steep. I took to going on the pockets of snow and digging my feet in to give me a grip to get down onto the Beilach. Well, I'm saying the Beilach. It takes an age to get to the Beilach. It's very boggy, very tricky descent. Now, what I should have done was stayed on the grassy bank coming off the top much further, and it would have been a far easier loop around to the Beilach if I'd have had a little bit more patience. I went pathlessly up the steep grassy bankside. At about halfway up, I came across a path. Now, I suspect if I'd have come down the other side correctly, I'd have probably been heading up further left up this grassy shoulder, at which point I may have picked up the path sooner. Anyway, very, very steep, even with the path, and it took you right the way up to a shoulder, which was then undulating to the top of Mhor Beinn Heasgarnich. Very undulating, actually. The top. I was hoping once there just to follow the grassy shoulder round, but no, there was quite a few ups and downs. Very windy, very cold, very rainy, in cloud. So I just wanted to get off. In fact, I think the picture when we got there will have been of the cairn, and Stan was hiding behind it. The weather was that bad. Which leads me on to the descent. Oh my God, it's just more swamp. It was, again, it was pathless. You just meandering your way through hags and swamps and ponds, and it was just a nightmare. Well, it wasn't a nightmare, it's actually very good, but it was hard work. Now, I decided to box clever, and I tried to cross a couple of the rivers early, because of how much water was about, so I didn't get trapped on the wrong side of one of the rivers, which led me probably further right than I'd have wanted, but equally it meant I'd have picked the road up sooner. And here's the story of the deer fences again, because I came across a deer fence which blocked me getting down to the road, so ultimately I had to follow the deer fence round until I was able to get up to the road. Now it's very boggy, long descent, and the guidebook suggests you'd be relieved to hit private road. Well, I'm not sure I was, because it's still another hour pretty much once you hit that road back. Very long steep descent actually on most of it on tarmac. So I was 9 hours today, and I think it rained for 8.5 of the 9 hours. It was 16.5 miles, and there was a massive 4,480 feet of ascent. Really tough day out.